We're live.
We're live. Hey, everybody. How you doing?
Wow. We've never done this actually, which is a follow-up interview with folks who have been abroad. So we interviewed some folks when they first got here, maybe a couple months after they got here, a month or so, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been over a year.
You believe it?
That was fast.
Can they believe it? It's been over a year.
Well, we'll see. But the thing about moving abroad is a lot of times we have this glorified view of what our life is going to be when we move abroad. And then, for the first year or so, you're still in the honeymoon period. Everything is lovely and everything is new. And then you start to settle down into your everyday life and everything might not be so rosy.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? So, for those of you who are in the process of moving abroad, you're going to want to hear this discussion because, there are adjustments and things that you have to make. And sometimes people say, you know what, this is too much. And they're like, we're going to go home. Are you going to feel welcome? Is the language too hard? Do enough people speak English in the meantime so you can at least, go about your daily life as you're learning the language, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of that stuff, right? And then you add on to that being Black and then being of the LGBTQ community. And it's like, okay, what are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing? So we are going to talk about all of that and a lot more, right?
A lot more.
Let's go. So I want to introduce myself. My name's Halisi.
And I'm Rick. Welcome to Our Black Utopia.
On our channel, we talk about money, travel, and retiring abroad as we build generational wealth, right? We help folks who look like us, getting close to retirement age and forgot to plan, get their money straight so that they can retire on time or maybe even early. So who is our special guest today?
So these two ladies are so very, 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 very special. Okay. Not only are they guests on our show, they're also guests in our home for the past couple of days because I needed family around me since, most of you guys know that I lost my older brother this past week. And these two ladies swooped in and loved on me. And, I just can't, there's really no words for it. They're amazing. They are truly amazing. They are my family here. They're my sisters, and I love them. The Currys.
All right. All right. But first, if you're new to our channel, then you might not know about 8 years ago, Rick and I got a wake up call. We were getting close to retirement age and we looked at our money and it looked crazy.
It was crazy, y'all. Look at me. Seriously, it was crazy.
It was. But about 4 years ago, we got our financial act together and we went from negative 22,000 to over 1.1 million in net worth. Yeah. If we can do it, you can do it too.
Can be done.
Right? I always say that. If you need help, the information to our financial course is in the description below. So with that, let's see. Hey, y'all.
Hey, y'all.
Haven't seen you in a long time.
I've been hiding.
In the other room.
I love it. So we introduced you, but why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
I'm Penny.
And I'm June.
And we are the Currys.
That's so cute.
I told y'all.
That's so cute. And are you both retired? Tell us a little bit more, when you moved here, etc.
Well, I'm retired. I retired actually a month before we moved here. Mm-hmm. And my lovely wife. Are you retired?
I wish I was. But no, I am still working, and we're actually working here for a company in Portugal. But we've been here a year and 5 months now.
Yes.
To be exact, we moved here December 31st.
Brought in the new year.
Of 2022.
Yeah,
right?
2023.
Yeah.
Well, we got
2022. Well, brought in the
December 31st, 2022.
But
we brought in the new year 2023 here.
Right.
And it's gone by really quick. We can't believe that it's been a year and 5 months. But did probably not a day goes by during the week that we don't look at each other and say, wow, we live in Portugal.
We've been doing that for the last couple of days here.
Yes,
Yes.
exactly.
Yeah.
We're here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you just gave away the punchline. So
Mm.
spoiler alert, do they look like they're unhappy? But I do want to ask, what do you think has been the biggest adjustment you've had to make since moving here?
The biggest.
I'll let you say what you think the biggest was for you.
That's your way of making me try to
Yeah, go first.
know it first. Okay, so I don't know. Besides, probably the biggest is certain foods that you might have that we were used to back in the States.
Mhm.
Other than that, the adjustments that we've had to make in terms of um, securing our residency and that whole situation there. But that's an adjustment. But those are some similar adjustments that we make in the States. But I think we elevate them because we're in a different country. So it seems like it's just heightened. How if I went back and talked about the issues that I had with my passport, but a few years back when we were trying to go out of the country to the Caribbean for a family reunion, and the hoops that we had to jump through, but we were in the US, so it wasn't major, but we get here and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe I had to wait. And so other than that,
Yeah.
but wouldn't do it again. I mean, would do it again, would be
Yeah.
right here in spite of.
I think for
Yeah.
me, any adjustments, of course, in the States, we both had cars. So whenever we wanted to go somewhere, whether it was grocery shopping or, we hop in the car and we go, and we're there. We sold our cars and we're here and we use public transportation. So those things take a little bit because, okay, now we're going grocery shopping. It's going to take a couple hours, because we're going to take the bus or we're going to hop on a ferry and go across because we live across the river now, so some things may take a little longer, but in making that adjustment, we don't mind walking. In the States, Walmart could have been 5 minutes down the road in the car. Take us 3 minutes to get there, and we'd be like, I guess we just won't have onions today because we don't want to drive 3 minutes to get where now. Oh, it's just down the road there. It might take us 10-15 minutes to walk. Okay, let's go.
No,
And
that's
now we
true.
go. Well, yes, she's not so big on let's go, but but those are adjustments that I think it took us a while. It took me a little bit to get used to. Okay, it's going to take us longer to do this or to do that, but we've adapted, and it's no big deal now.
Yeah. I have to say, and Penny, once your knee is totally healed, 100% healed, you be fine. You will be
Yes,
fine.
I will.
But I have to say that has been an adjustment. Not the not having a car. Yeah, that piece too.
Mm-hmm.
But the notion of, okay, I'm gonna go to Costco and I'm gonna buy a bunch of crap and wheel it to my car, right? And then drive my car into the garage. I ain't got to see my neighbors or anybody. Just drive it right into the garage and walk right into the kitchen from the garage with all the crap that I bought, right? Like the notion of going to one place or even just two places and basically finding everything you need.
Yeah.
Right. I had to go to that fruiteria down there to get my scallion onions because don't nobody else carry them. And if they don't have them, then I got to walk all the way down the hill, walk all the way back up, but I know I can find bell peppers everywhere. So I don't have to get those there. But then what about this? And oh, this spice I can only find at the Asian store. So I got to go to the Asian store and find that spice, right? I think that notion of going to a bunch of places and not having the super Target where you can get toilet paper, underwear, socks, and some apples
Right.
all in the same place. That's not a thing. I mean, at the huge continents, the two biggest continents, in Colombo and Vasco da Gama, yeah, you can get apples and underwear.
Mm.
But it's still not super Target. You can't
Right.
get workout gear and a pretty dress and makeup and like no, that's just not a thing. So
And,
that
and you got to take a metro and a bus to get there.
yeah. So
Yeah.
just getting my hair cut, I saw somebody was talking, y'all, this is not permanent. I made a mistake. The color. I didn't make a mistake with the haircut, but I made a mistake with the color. In any event, just to get my haircut, I had to take the metro to the ferry to go over on the other side of the river. And then once I got on the other side of the river, I had to take a bus from the ferry depot to the barbershop. I could have taken the tram, either one, but the bus was coming sooner and it was faster. So I took the bus, right? Trains, planes, and automobiles. And so that definitely has been an adjustment.
Right.
I've enjoyed it though. I
Yeah,
know.
It's
I
not
know.
a bad adjustment.
No, it's
Yeah,
it's not
no.
a bad adjustment. It's just an adjustment. That's all.
And
It's not a
I
bad
kind of
one.
look forward to it. To me, for me,
It's an adventure.
yeah. And growing up in Texas, not having the metros, we had a bus, but how dare you ride a bus in Texas if you have to have a car? And I mean, riding a bus was just unheard of. So much so that when I moved to Massachusetts, and it was suggested to take the bus or a train, and I was like, "Are you kidding
Moi?
me?" And then I got on the bus and I was like, nobody knows me, so no big deal. Then when I started riding the metro, it was like, this is the best thing since sliced bread. I'm not in traffic. So moving back to Texas, it was horrible. The cars was great, but I didn't have the metro. So that's what I enjoy here. All the different forms of transportation. Yes, it takes longer, but it's the adventure. It's the time that I get to spend with my wife. So it's been great. It's been great.
Yeah.
I think that sometimes the public transportation is faster,
Yes.
especially if you're trying to get into the downtown to the center part of the city where the tourist area is. That traffic is a beast.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a beast.
Yeah.
And you call a Uber or whatever, a ride share, and it's like, okay, I could have walked faster than this. I could have walked.
Yeah.
But I'm too cute and I don't want to get sweaty trying to get to this party. But so sometimes it is faster to take public transportation, even when it's not. Like if you're going on the other side of the river or whatever. I think that it makes you slow down. And it's like, okay, you can't, it's not just all the time,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Okay, today is a grocery shopping day, and I might not have time to do too much else
Right.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
because I'm be running around to this place and that place and this place. And the other thing is the refrigerators are smaller, so you can't buy as much anyway. So you're going to be going more often,
Exactly.
right? And so all of that, not having a 6-month supply of food
Yes.
in the house,
Yes.
That part.
right? That takes some adjusting too,
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
right?
I mean, but like you said, like they always say, stop and smell the roses.
Mhm.
And a lot of times in the States we never did that. Like you said, you get in your
Yeah.
car, you go to work, you get in your car, you go to the grocery store, you get in your car, you come back home, pull up in your garage, you never see your neighbor.
Yeah.
Or
Exactly.
you never see people. You never,
And you don't have to interact with people.
You don't have to interact.
Yeah.
You can pretty much be an island in the middle of a city when you have
Yeah.
a car.
But what is life but an adjustment? We make adjustments every day.
Yeah.
And it's a matter of what are you putting into your life, wherever you are, to make you happy.
Yeah.
If I have to adjust, I adjust. But to
Yeah.
see the smile on my wife's face every day where we are, hey, we adjust to
Yeah.
everything. We do what we need to do to keep the smiles on the face, right?
Yeah. You know, the sad part is when people let those little things get in the way of the big
Yeah.
picture,
Right.
Exactly.
right? So
Exactly.
let's see who is in the audience today. We've got Jametta is in the house. Hey,
Jametta.
Jametta. Hey, Vanessa.
Hey,
Good to
Vanessa.
see you. Happy Sunday. Got the notification. Yay.
Cool.
Hey,
Hey,
Shanora.
Shanora.
If you're not on our email list, you can get on the email list and get alerted of when we go live and everything else that we're doing. All of that information is in the description below. Hey, K Renee,
Hey,
good to
Kenary.
see you. ABX Girl is here. Steven is in the house. Action VJ, less
Action
than a
VJ.
month from the meetup. And we get to hear the Currys today. Hit that like button, y'all.
Yes, yes. Hey, Action VJ.
I can't wait to see you all because we will also get to see Yakota.
Dakota.
Boa
Boa
tarde.
tarde.
Anya is in the house. Chanel. Hey, Melon T. Thank you.
Hey,
Thank you.
Melon
Thank
T.
you for showing up. Hey,
Hey,
Valerina.
Valerina.
Nicole. Hey there, lady. Good to see you in the chat.
Hey,
Yes.
neighbor.
Right? Hey, Laura. James is in the house. We got World Explorer. Nice seeing you.
Good to
seeing
see
you too,
you.
Chris.
Hey, Chris.
Well, maybe we shouldn't have said his name. Oops, too late now.
That was my father's name. It's a good name.
No, it is a good name, but if you're not using it, maybe you don't want it to be used. That's all. I was just trying to be a little responsible. You know, I don't.
I was
do that
following your lead. I was
So,
following her lead.
See, throw me under that bus. Hey,
her
Dana
fault.
and Tanya, Killer Queen is in the
Killer
house. Good to
Queen.
see you. Okay, Killer Queen. So we told you we had friends who lived in Seychelles. Ask your questions about Seychelles.
Yeah.
Because she said she came over there and she was like, what's the hype? I think it's beautiful over there. Hey, Pinky, aesthetics guru. I
Hey.
love the hair. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Killer Queen said the same thing. Tolly's in the house. Helen. All right, y'all. Hey, Teddy. I think I saw Krishan too. Didn't I see Krishan?
I did
Yes,
see Krishan.
I did see
Yeah.
Krishan. Thank
John.
you. And Dion Marie, Jen, we love you guys so much. We do.
Hey, Ken.
And yeah, Ken is in the house. We partner with Black Set Global for the meetup. June is actually making the t-shirts for our meetup. If you are coming to the meetup and you've ordered a t-shirt, there's still some of you who haven't told us the size. Y'all, tomorrow's the last day. It's the last day to purchase. It's the last day to tell us what size. I'm gonna look at your Facebook or something and guess. I don't know. Y'all need to tell me. Fill out the form. And then also, if you want to join us in Portugal and you're thinking about moving, we did do a Move to Portugal virtual summit. Those replays are for sale. You can see them at June and Penny participated. So you get to hear from people, from Black folks all around the country, as well as the experts on healthcare and everything else, taxes and the immigration process, everything, how to move your pet, everything is included. As well as how to make money online, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everything you need. All right. So let's ask the burning question first, and then we'll go from there. As Black folks from the LGBTQ community, do you feel comfortable and welcome here?
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
Our community here, and I think most times, especially in the same gender loving communities, by us saying that, people automatically think we're talking about LGBTQ and all the other alphabets. So forgive me if I don't say them all. But when we say community, we mean everyone. And it's not a straight community, not just a gay community. We have that, but our community is everyone here.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a community that supports LGBTQ? Yes, and specifically for Black folks. But ironically enough, most of the people that we're around are not same gender loving. And we are accepted. And it's not even like we're accepted. We're just
We just are.
We just are. We're
just
part of
are.
the family.
Yeah. We've had people, come over and say, where do we find the same-sex bars? Where do we find, because in the States, you almost have to separate, you can find them there, you find them here. Over here, we're all just part of the community.
Mm.
So, and that's the awesome thing about it. It's like, oh my goodness, we don't have to go over to that area to feel accepted. We don't have to go to that club or this restaurant to feel accepted. I can walk down the street and hold my wife's hand, and no one's gawking at us. And you're going to find people everywhere who may not be accepting, and that's okay. But we have found since we've been here that we can just live our life, enjoy being here in Portugal, live our life loving each other, and we are so happy.
Yeah.
It's just.
That was part of the reason why we moved.
Yeah.
We had 5 criterias for Portugal, for any place that we would relocate, and we had to know that before we moved here, and that's why we're here.
For the folks who weren't watching us last year, where did you move from? Tell us a little bit about your story and why you moved.
Okay. I grew up in Texas, moved to the East Coast, lived in Massachusetts for 12, 14 years, and which is where I met June. And from there, moved to Virginia, where June was at the time. And from Virginia, I moved back to Texas in June, and the boys moved to Texas with me.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my early backstory.
I'm originally from the Caribbean, have lived in New York, Massachusetts, Virginia, Kansas, lived
Ooh,
a few
I'm
different
sorry.
states.
Kansas.
Lived a few different states, and in the States, and then Texas. We have 4 children. The majority of those who watched our show or know our story before. My oldest son, Preston, was killed 2 years, almost 3 years now, in a mass shooting, which was kind of a major eye opener for us. At that point, we decided no one else was going to dictate our happiness anymore. We came out, we got married. My wife was ready to retire. She's like, let's get out of the United States. And she did all the research to convince me, and it didn't take very long. We came to visit, and then 3 months later, we were here.
Wow. I didn't realize it was, I did.
Yeah. We came to visit in September. We filed for our visa in October, and December 31st, we were here.
Wow.
We didn't play games with it. We didn't, and we would do it all over again.
Sooner, though.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, had I known how doable it is, we definitely would have done it
Oh, yeah.
a lot earlier. So Allison says, I keep telling my daughter and her daughter that they would be safer there than in Texas, where we live.
Yeah.
How accepting were they in Texas?
Well, I'm going to be honest. I mean, there's a lot of things that's going on in politics in Texas. And if you're from Texas, and if you're not, you probably still know. It depends on where you are. They might have been more accepting because during the time where June and I were there, we weren't out except for the last year of our 20 years together. So that was different. I was out when I was in college, but I was out to my family and the friends who knew.
Right.
So I don't really know. And it definitely wasn't a thing then. So we don't know what it would be like, hanging out. I just know what was trying to transpire politically in that climate for same gender loving. So besides the whole gamut with safety,
that part,
that part, and then losing a child to a senseless random gun violence. adding that, healthcare is through the roof. And that's all over the country in the US.
Yeah.
So there were many reasons for us to make this move.
I think safety is a huge reason.
It's major.
Yeah.
It should be for Americans because, when we talked to, like, I was even talking to my barber kind of in Portuguese, Portugal, because he didn't speak any English, hardly any. I think he knew the word beautiful and hi and thank you, and that's about it. So, but he was saying that he wanted to go to the United States and, blah, blah. And I'm like, no. And so I know the word for dangerous, and I know, and I was saying gun in Spanish. He understood. I was like, there's just too many guns. It's dangerous. It's not, you do not have the feeling of safety. Now, shit can happen anywhere.
Exactly.
It
Exactly.
does, yeah.
And does. But where is it more likely to happen?
Yeah.
Right? That's the thing. So Killer Queen said, is it possible I took the wrong ferry to somewhere else? Yes, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's 4 different ferries going to different parts of across the river, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So
Right.
yes, you could have possibly taken
So
the
come on back to Portugal, Killer Queen, and we'll show you where to go.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, the
Definitely.
whole safety thing, I'll tell you, moving to Portugal was healing for me. Because at the time, living in the States, you couldn't turn the TV on and not hear of a mass shooting somewhere. And so every time I heard it, it just brought back how my son was killed. Mass shooting here, mass shooting there. Does no one care about the crazy gun violence that's going on? So being able to move to a place where, no, you just can't own a gun. It just doesn't work that way. And knowing that even if I turned on the TV, even if I couldn't understand what they were saying because it was in Portuguese, I know they weren't saying there's a mass shooting.
That part.
Right.
That part.
Yeah.
So it brought about healing for me. It really honestly did, and once again, that's something I wouldn't trade.
Yeah. And someone wiser than me has said you cannot heal in the same place. So you're either healing or you're coping, but you cannot do both at the same time, right? So I can see, to me, when we talk in the WhatsApp groups and stuff, I always hear about people talking about, oh, I got to go back to the cities. I got to go back to the States. I'm so depressed, and they were asking, am I the only one who gets depressed when you have to go back to the States? And that answer is no, right? And for me, and it's kind of obvious, like all of my worst memories are from the States. But of course, because that's where I spent the majority of my life. But still, all of my worst memories are from the States. And so if you want a new lease on life, if you want to start a true new chapter as opposed to just doing a little less of the same, moving out of your comfort zone, moving out of the country is, to me, one of the best things you can do. And it's like you get a reboot and you get to reinvent yourself. Not like, okay, y'all, some people come over here and make up a whole new backstory. I'm not talking about that. They done adopted another accent, acting like they from, England or the Caribbean or something. It's like, woman, you from Kansas. So, that's not what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about reinventing, it's like reinventing how you move through life, because now a lot of the baggage, assuming you let it go, gets to fall away, right? And a lot of the things that I used to care about, I just don't care about anymore, right? So some people come over here and they're still thinking American,
right?
And I'm not sure just here, but anywhere when they move out of the United States, they still think American. And so if you can't let that go, you're probably gonna have a hard time adjusting, right? Because like you said, yeah, you get hassled with the passport office, but we understand that system.
Yeah. You
And
understand the language. There's
the
not that
system
barrier.
and the language, right? So you go on the website, you see, oh, we behind, we getting 500,000, applications a week. You go, oh, okay, it's going to take a minute. Oh, but I can expedite it for this amount of money, whatever, right? But now you're going onto a Portuguese site. You use Google Translate to see if it'll translate the page. It don't translate right. Some things do not translate right.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's like, okay, what is it? And then it's like, okay, so who do I ask? And then you get in the WhatsApp group and everybody got a different answer, right? And it can be frustrating. But if you come over here, and I would venture to say most other countries outside of North America, then you can slow down and take a breath and say, everything does not have to happen right now.
Yeah.
So it's a new way to move through life. And I like moving through life with a little bit more carefreeness
Mhm.
and a lot less stress,
Definitely.
Yes.
right? I get to think about creative things that I might want to try because now I have the time. Part of that is due to retiring. But it's hard to do that in the United States when everybody expects this. Plus, the average person who retires can't afford to retire. So then you end up going back to work part-time.
Mhm.
And that sucks up, more of your time. It's just less of the same. It's not a reinvention.
Right.
Agreed.
My husband and I are going to do the first scouting trip this November, already booked. Can't wait.
All right.
Yes.
Congratulations.
All right, Allison, send us an email sometime in October if we're around. If we're in town, maybe we can have a drink or break bread. And for those of you who don't know, most YouTube channels, you can find their email address under About. Like 95% of them have the email address as well as we do. How large is the Black LGBT community in Portugal? I would say English speaking. Let's start there because who knows?
For Portugal, I think it's huge.
Yeah.
In English speaking, the organization that we belong to is fairly large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
And that's just what we know. We haven't really ventured out into the overall population
Yeah.
Right.
here. And
But
language is probably part of that. But
you have to understand too, you've got a lot of people here. They don't walk around with a big sign on their back saying, hey, we're an LGBTQ couple. So there's probably a lot of folks out here that we don't know because everybody blends into society. Now, don't get me wrong. In the one group that we're part of, if someone says, hey, is there a queer club we can go to? They're going to rattle off a few of them. This one's pretty good. You can check out this one. You can check out. So they're here, but.
And are they really though? Are they
and I don't know if they're all queer
they're
groups or if they're just somewhere
places that people go.
where they go,
Yeah.
where they hang out.
Okay.
But as far as the LGBTQ community in Portugal, Black or otherwise, it's quite large.
And very supportive.
Yes.
if the Pride Parade is any indication,
Yeah, and that's coming up
Yes.
soon, and that's huge.
Yeah.
it's huge.
And
And
from what I understand, they're actually doing. I saw someone post
This year's the
this
first
year is
year.
going to be the first Black Pride. They're doing a Black Pride this year.
there you go, RA.
as
You
well.
know, and I mean, when we say Black, we also including like Brazilians,
Angolan
and Africans
Yeah.
in that. So we saw the parade last year and the year before that.
Mhm.
And not only is it huge, because in Denver, we have a pretty huge parade as well, but it's nothing like this. This is kind of like Carnival.
Yeah.
It's kind of like Carnival.
Yeah.
And Denver has one of the largest in the States, but I think this one is bigger than even Denver.
We'll see. Dallas is huge. But of course it's Texas. So I mean,
Everything's
anyways.
big in Texas.
But I
Okay.
I was injured, hurt my knee, so we didn't make it to the one
Last year.
last year. We
Okay.
will
We
we
will
will
be
make
there
it.
this year.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but we heard it was massive. So
It
we're
It
looking
was.
forward
was.
to
It
it.
truly
Yeah.
was.
And the part that we saw, okay, babies were up on this platform on the truck, dragged out with big wing feathers and all of this and the makeup and singing. And I was like, okay, why do they look prettier than me? And why am I upset about it? Because I am upset about it.
That part. That part.
You know, why does his legs look better than mine? And them fishnets.
See.
So, okay, I am marking the questions here. Y'all have them. You know how we roll. Put a Q in front of the question or a comment that you want us to show on screen. Okay. Great question. Are you learning Portuguese?
Sim. Português é muito difícil. Muito difícil. The Portuguese language is very difficult.
Yes.
But we are slowly learning the language. We want to be, I don't know if we'll ever be fluent in the language, but we do want to be conversational so that we can understand and carry on the conversation. But it's a day-to-day process. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I don't know any quick way to learn the Portuguese language. We were just talking about that this morning, Halisi.
Right.
I don't know that there's a quick way to learn it, but we definitely do want to learn it. And we are learning, yes.
Yep. Yep. This is what I do.
All her notes, yes. Those verb conjugations they really can't keep you behind.
Yes.
You know, to me, if you know Spanish, it's easier, at least to read and to write it, because it's so similar, but it does not sound the same, especially European Portuguese. And in Lisbon, they falam muito rápido, very fast.
Ooh.
And they swallow half the words.
Yeah.
And they don't pronounce everything like they don't in French, like we don't in English, every letter that's there. So I think the pronunciation is the hardest part.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And then their grammar is just a little bit different than Spanish.
Mhm.
It may be closer to French. I don't remember because that was back in high school and college when I took French. And it only comes back to me when I don't want it to come back. When I'm trying to get it to come back, it's like, oh no, we buried back here. We ain't coming out. I just got home and can't wait to get back. You don't have to convince me. Yay! Very, very good. Very good. Uh-oh, Peggy's like, remember, click that like button. Thank you, Peggy.
Thank you, Peggy.
We appreciate it. All right. Igami says, loving this conversation. Penny and June, have you found other European countries that you've traveled to be more or less accepting than Portugal? Oh, interesting.
We haven't really gone, well, we've been London,
we've been to
Germany, we went to Italy.
Yeah, we haven't had any. And
we haven't had any issues.
No.
Mm-mm. So just about the same. No more.
Yeah.
No less necessarily.
No more, no less.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting because, Spain, Italy, Portugal, Catholic.
Mm-hmm.
And yet they seem to be a lot more loving and accepting in general than folks are in the Christian country of the United States.
Mm-hmm.
And you see me doing air quotes because I don't know how many people said, the United States was founded on Christian principles. It's like, really? Because when is mass murder a Christian principle?
That
genocide of the indigenous people, like when was, but they, then they want to turn you off. Well, you know what I mean. No, I don't know what you mean.
Mm-hmm.
So Tally, it's the same time it is everywhere. Like it's in June. So June is Pride Month.
Some places are not in June.
But the parade is actually going to be July 6th this year.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Lisbon. The parade is July 6th this
Oh,
year.
interesting. Interesting. So, because it's always been, so the past 2 Junes, I don't know about always, but the
Yeah,
past 2 Junes,
it was.
it was the third week, right before Juneteenth.
Yeah,
Oh, the
I looked it
parade.
up, and it's July 6th is what it says for Lisbon
Interesting.
Pride. Yeah,
Interesting.
so
I think Pride in not Amsterdam. It might be in
August, September. Which one's
yeah,
that?
not Amsterdam. What's the other Iceland or someplace like that? Theirs is maybe September.
Yeah,
So it just
so it's not
depends.
always
Yeah,
June.
it's
Yeah,
not all the countries.
Interesting.
All the countries are not in
yeah.
June. The majority,
Okay.
yes, but yeah.
But not all.
No.
Okay. That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Mhm.
My wife is starting to come around to the idea of at least long stints abroad.
That's good.
Love your channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. That's good. And because it's usually not the wife, it's usually the husband.
Why you lean on me?
It wasn't him.
No.
This was his idea.
I tell you what,
Yes.
there is a whole world out here. People, I mean, the universe is so massive, and there is so much more out here for you to love and to enjoy than what you just have. It's not just everything is not just in the United States. And when
Right.
you take the time to step out of that comfort zone and get a chance to explore and see, there's so much more out here for you. Come on and get out.
Do the research.
You
Do the
get out, you
research.
might not want to go back.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody should venture out and just check it out.
Yeah. At
You know,
least
if
once.
just for long travel or
Yeah.
what. They need to get out. You need to get out of your comfort zone.
Yeah. So Teddy says Italy's not gay friendly. I
Yeah.
wouldn't know because I'm not gay. So and I think that, the question is how do you feel? Like, to me, I think it's always important. Like we say, we love it here, we feel safe, but somebody else may not. And so when you're thinking about doing a move abroad, you have to spend time in the country to see how you feel, how people are interacting with you, because I think we bring an energy with us,
Yes.
right? And I think people feed off of that. And so if you walk around like, okay, here we go. I know I'm gonna hear something, I'm gonna get some weird stares, I'm gonna be, somebody gonna deny me service. If you walk around with that energy,
That's what you're going to bring.
that's what you're gonna get.
Yeah, if you're looking for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
what you're doing. You're looking for it. You're looking for the negative, and you'll find the negative.
You really
Exactly.
will. You really will. There was an older gentleman who lived here for about 9 months, and he's like, "This is the most racist country. This country is more racist than the United States." And the person he was talking to was like, "Well, give me a for instance." And when he was telling him, the situations, our friend, our mutual friend, was like, "I still don't understand." But again, he was looking for it.
Mhm.
He was looking for it. And so the universe complies. Your
Exactly.
wish is my command.
Exactly. Yeah.
You want racism? I got some racism for your behind. Here we come.
Here we go. Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, we were just in Italy for our anniversary, and
Mhm.
I mean, we weren't looking for clubs, and we weren't looking for anyone except for to go to Italy to have great food, a good time. So I don't know if it was, there was an issue with the same gender loving communities. I wasn't there for that per se, but like you said, go to wherever it is you want to go. First of all, do the research before you go, because so many people will go to come here, and well, I've heard it was great, but maybe it was great for June and I, but it may not be great for you and your partner or you or whatever you're looking for. So there is a lot of information out there.
Yeah.
So do that before you go any place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, I suppose if the overwhelming amount of people are saying, no, 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 it's bad, 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 bad. Okay, maybe that's not a place you want to go. But if it's just here and there,
Yeah.
you got to experience it.
Yes.
Mhm.
You got to experience it. Okay, Atlanta, Amado,
Amado.
Hey, Atlanta.
you guys are doing it. I was there with you in Lisboa. You
Yeah.
have nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
All right, right?
Ah,
Yeah.
That's our friend.
yes.
Thank you for watching, Atlanta. Isan one, I'm late. Which town across the river do you live in? Do they have a beach there in your town across the river?
Do they have a beach? Well, first
Yes.
of all,
We live in Seychelles.
beautiful Seychelles.
Beautiful Seychelles. And there are plenty beaches in Seychelles. Most definitely. Small beaches, large beaches,
Yeah.
beaches.
We can
It-
walk 5 minutes to a beach, or we can go 25 minutes to the ocean, and whatever you want.
Yeah,
yeah.
definitely in Seychelles.
It's actually it is so beautiful, and I know at one time it was a very working class
Mhm.
neighborhood, and I'm not saying that derogatorily, just that folks who lived in that area historically have been lower wage earners than those who live in Lisbon, and so consequently it's less expensive. Also, there's been some investment over there, and so I think if you were here 10 years ago, your version of Seychelles
Yeah.
10 years ago and today you cannot compare
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
You really can't.
Mhm.
Do you spend most of your time with expats or Portuguese people?
We spend most of our time with each other, to be totally
do,
honest
yeah.
with you. But I think it's probably more, I mean, if we do, it's expats probably, but we have met some Portuguese couples. Some people here, we have met some Portuguese people. So we're getting there. We would love to meet more Portuguese speaking people. We have one particular young lady that works in the restaurant that we go to quite often. And once we told her that we were trying to learn the language, we cannot step in that restaurant now and speak English to her. He said,
Yeah.
No.
you have to speak to me in Portuguese. You
Fala
have to order in
Portuguese.
Portuguese. And she's making us stick to it, which is a good
Yes,
thing because it's helping us to, to learn.
Yeah.
But, we have our neighbors that we speak to, but they're trying to learn English, so they prefer to speak to us. in
Yeah.
English.
Yeah. But they
And
know English, but they want to practice it.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, and as you learn the language, you get more comfortable speaking a language.
Yeah.
So you meet more people. You meet
Yeah.
more Portuguese people. You're associating more because you understand what they're saying, they understand what you're saying. And
Right.
it's not you're not picking your brain or pulling your hair out trying to figure out, well, I don't know what to say or how to say it to somebody.
Exactly.
Yes.
I work for a Portuguese company, but I was hired because they were looking for English speakers. Everyone on my team just about is Portuguese, but I work remotely, so I'm not necessarily in the office with them. So I just associate with them via Zoom or WebEx or whatever work wise. So I can't really say that I spend that type of time with them either. We spend most of our time together. We kind of like each other.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. It's for the Portuguese folks who are around our age, less of them speak English than younger folks. So
Yes.
that's number one. And I think the Portuguese folks or non-American folks that we hang out with through mutual friends, they know English, and so that helps build relationship. The language thing is a big thing, y'all. And even though like even our landlord has invited us to wine. Now, the next time he invites us, I will feel a little bit more comfortable accepting. I didn't feel comfortable accepting before because like he speaks virtually no English. His wife speaks virtually no English. And at the time, we spoke no Portuguese except for the greetings and simple
Right.
stuff. So Now, as we've been taking Portuguese for, a year, I feel a little bit more comfortable spending 15 or 20 minutes trying to hash out a conversation. And so most of the Portuguese who come to our get-togethers spent some time in America.
Right.
Mhm.
And then they're back home now here in Portugal, and but they know English, and so that makes it easier. And then of course I ask them a bunch of stuff about how you say this and how you say that. Like, okay, I didn't come here to give you lessons. I'm trying to enjoy myself. Pride in West Hollywood is so fun and sassy, and the jam. When I born and raised in LA, and I don't think I've ever seen a pride parade in LA. So, something that I missed. Are there any immersion Portuguese programs? Yes.
Mhm.
And we also have like language exchange groups and stuff like that. There's even a, Black language exchange group with Africans and mostly Africans, I think, are in it. And then North Americans or English speakers, I should say. And so, I don't know of any immersion programs, Jazzy D, but I know that they exist because I know other people are coming here and doing immersion programs. So I think the biggest immersion you can do is to force yourself to just speak it every single time you leave the house. And like I was telling Penny earlier, my tutor said, as you're doing stuff, as you're walking around, as you're living life, instead of thinking in English, think in Portuguese. And then force yourself, because we have the time now, if you don't know how to say what you're doing, to go on your app and look it up and then say it a couple of times. If you start thinking in Portuguese, like I am walking to the store, I am going to get, some apples and some pears. How do you say pear? I can't remember how to say pears, but I know how to say apples. But, okay, so let me look up pears, right? I think that is probably the fastest way to speed up your comprehension and memorization. So I don't know. I think that's how she taught herself English,
Okay.
but it was brilliant. It was a brilliant idea, right?
Yes, definitely. I'm going to do that. It definitely makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Because if I'm trying to think of something, I'll pull out Deeple on a heartbeat. How do I say this? Because in my mind, I'll try to say it. And I was like, let me check and see if that's the correct way to say it.
Yeah.
Because I want to know.
Yeah,
I definitely
absolutely.
want to know.
Absolutely. Penny and June, how do you like your apartment? I know you moved from a place in Lisbon. Yes, to a bigger space.
Yeah,
We love
it.
it.
We love it.
We-
It's so much smaller than what we were used to in the States, and it was adjustment, for a minute, but I wouldn't change it now.
No.
If you would have asked me a year ago, I still would have been, let's try to get a 3-bedroom and then at least be, have enough room. And I'm like, you know what? I love our little 1-bedroom, and we have a balcony. That's key. We can see water. That's key. Maybe not a lot of it, but we see some. And it's quaint.
Yeah, and it's perfect. It's perfect for
Yeah.
us.
Yeah.
It works perfectly for us.
More space to clean. More
That
junk,
part.
and if you're not careful, more junk to collect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. And so, I was talking to some clients yesterday, and one of the people of the couple had problems releasing some of her stuff.
Mhm.
That's another thing that you guys need to think about, is when you're talking about moving, especially from a house in the States to an apartment in a metropolitan area, you can't bring all your stuff.
Yeah.
You just can't. And
Yeah.
so you've got to release the emotional attachment to that stuff.
Yeah.
And, one of the things that I said to her, I was like, my mom and dad had collected so much stuff and their house was full of stuff that by the time they started getting older and their memory started failing them, they could not stay organized because they had too much stuff, clutter. And I think cluttered house makes a cluttered mind.
Mhm.
There's something to be said about having less stuff and being clear. I feel like, there is room to be creative, and it's freeing in my mind. It really is. So, and then you don't have to pay as much for your housekeeper because there's less space.
Yes. Yeah.
That part.
That part, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you all, you do definitely have to come. You definitely have to come. Are you all renting now? And if so, will you consider purchasing for a permanent stay? Oh, good question.
We are currently renting.
Yes.
And I don't know, we've talked about that. There's so much of Portugal that we have not explored yet, so many different parts. We don't know that we want to do a permanent stay of any particular place because we still have so much more to explore,
Yeah.
you know? And renting allows us the freedom to go visit someplace and be like, oh, maybe we could live here. Let's see
Yeah.
what it would be like to live here, as opposed to, man, we just purchased a house here, over there, but we never thought about here because we didn't know about over here.
Right.
So renting gives us the freedom to kind of move around. And hey, Portugal may not be the permanent stay. It could be another part of Europe. We don't know. For right now, I think renting gives us that freedom, though,
Yeah.
to gives us some choices.
No, we just did that about a month ago.
Okay.
When our third child, when Jackson was here, we went to Port and we wanted to go to Montesino's. And we had a blast. Of course, we did the research before we went. And we were like, let's just check out Montesino's. So we went back and spent like, 3 or 4 days. And we're like, this is a place that we really like. We found places to eat, the markets, and we love the market. So that was the first place that we went to.
Yeah.
And
And the
it
beach was amazing.
Yeah, and it has possibilities. But now, if we would have come here without doing a little background check and research and traveling to those locations, bought right away, we're stuck.
Mhm.
We're stuck, and we haven't been here long enough for us,
For us, yeah.
what we want. Yeah.
I highly suggest that. Like I was just thinking about your neighbor Nicole, right? They purchased, and she speaks about the purchasing process, what she went through on in our Move to Portugal virtual summit. So if you are thinking about one day buying real estate here, we've got 2 people who spoke about their buying experience.
Mhm.
And then the all access pass, there's someone who comes on and talks more generally about the rules and regulations here when it comes to purchasing and renting. So all of that is in the Move to Portugal virtual summit. But Nicole had been here coming back and forth
Yes.
for a few
Right.
years.
She was
Right.
ready. She was
For
prepared.
a few years
Right.
before she decided to buy, right? And so, I respect that because it's done thoughtfully,
Yes.
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 Yes, definitely.
right? And then our friend Shar, who is the other person who spoke at the Move to Portugal virtual summit, she just purchased about a year and some months ago or so, something like that. And but she'd been living here since before the pandemic or right at the beginning, something like that. So she'd been here for a few years, and then decided that this is the area that I want to live. Where she purchased, right? So Jen was asking. She said, "I missed who said they were working. Did you have a job prior to moving to Portugal?" So that was June who said that.
I did have a job prior to moving to Portugal, but then when I moved to Portugal, that job ended. So I did have to go. I went a few months without while I was looking for the job. The job that I have now, I received working here in Portugal for a Portuguese company. Major difference. So do your research if you're planning on moving here. If you can move here with your U.S. job, fantastic, because the pay and the differences are quite severe.
It's 21:30.
Quite severe. So make sure you do your research first. But I'm grateful for the job that I have. It still yet allows me to live comfortably here in Portugal. So
Tell them about your vacation time. Okay, so you talked about the differences in pay. And we know, the average Portuguese person, according to the newspapers or whatever, makes about 1,500 euro per month. Minimum wage, I think, is somewhere between 900 and 1,000 per month.
mhm.
So that just gives you some idea. Most people do not come here to find a job. That's not, there's no reason to necessarily do that. In 2024 with the ability to work remotely for some of these companies. But let's talk about that vacation time and stuff like that. Because you haven't been, how long have you been working for them? What?
I've been with the
7 months,
company
8
now.
months?
Yeah, I started August will be a year. August will be
Okay.
a year.
Okay.
August.
Okay.
August will be a year. At the beginning of the year, you automatically get 22 days PTO. I had
22 days, y'all.
22 days at the
Not
beginning of the
14.
year. I had 9 prorated from last year, so I started off the year with 31 days PTO. They basically they want you to, hey, if you can just put in some dates for the year so that we have something locked in. You can change them if you need to. So I did that, and it's funny because you have to do at least a 10-day, at least one of those dates that you put in, one time that you put in where you're going to be off has to be at least 10 days. They want you, it's like you have to take at least 10 days off.
You hear that, folks?
Consecutive. So, and when I did that, they gave me they scheduled my weekends because the job I work for, y'all, they're open 24/7. So I'm on a rotating schedule. It's not like Monday through Friday, and I normally have weekends off. Sometimes I may have weekends off, sometimes I don't. But when I scheduled those 10 days, they gave me the weekend before off and the weekend after off.
Mm.
So I had those 14 days straight off, and that's a requirement. You have to do at least 10 days off. The other great thing that I can accumulate more days because they're open 24. They do not close on the Portuguese holidays. And if I'm scheduled to work on a holiday, as opposed to the U.S. where you might get time and a half,
Right.
you're not going to get time and a half to work on a holiday, but they will give you an additional day off whenever you want for that. So I've started off with 31 days for the new year. I've accumulated 5 extra days. So truth be told, I have 36 days off this year.
Now, if you guys get remarried in Portugal, then what do you get?
When you get married, you get 15 days off. And when
So-
you have
So
a
you
child,
get that in addition to.
your regular, whatever you normally have. Yeah.
And then when you have a child, you get 6 months.
Yeah,
paid.
the mother gets 6 months paid time off.
Wow.
I think we need to.
We're not having a child. That part you can.
Yeah, well, yeah, no, not that part, but maybe we need to think about getting married here in Portugal.
Yeah. You guys can be our witnesses. We do that.
Okay.
There we go. Because they don't recognize your marriage in the United States.
Here, I don't think if I'm not mistaken, and we'd have to do a little bit more research on it to be
Yeah.
absolutely sure. I don't know that Portugal recognizes our marriage certificate from the United States. I'm not sure. We'll have to check
Yeah,
that.
and,
We
and
heard,
it's not a same gender thing. We just need to.
we
yeah.
need to double check that. We're
Yeah,
not.
we just
We've
need
heard
to-
that it might not be. So if that's the case, then
Yeah,
we're going right on down there and I'm getting those 15 days off.
There you go.
My job is listening.
We can ask Sandra about that. So Sandra Gomes Pinto, I will put her information in the description below. She is one of our recommended immigration specialists. And so right after this, I will make sure that her information is in the description below. Because I think but she's the one who said that, oh, and by the way, you need to get your will redone.
Yes.
because right, and any kind of estate planning and stuff like that, you might need to get it redone as well. So I didn't even think about that when we moved. I had no idea. So it helps that we don't have property yet, but still. So so we're going to go ahead and call Sandra and get that done with her. And so back to the language. Krishan says, today I was the only English speaker during my Pilates class. It was a great way to learn. Normally she teaches in English, and I was proud of myself for making it through.
Awesome.
So yeah, that's another that's another great way to start immersing yourself.
Right.
I think it was Isan who asked about immersion. Is whatever your life stuff that you do, go to a place where it's in Portuguese, right? Especially something like exercise, because really you just following the teacher, right? And then if she's the lazy one or he's the lazy one is just telling you and not actually doing it, because I've been to those exercise classes too, you can look at what the neighbor's doing. Right. And so then you start hearing those words over and over as you go to the exercise class or, whatever your hobby is. And that really is a more fun way than sitting up in somebody's university. University of Porto has a free online for beginners. Oh, online for beginners, because the government here sponsors free language classes. And they're usually at the local middle school or high school or something like that. And they can be, twice a week, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. It just depends on how they're running things. But it's kind of like on a semester type of system. But the only thing about those classes is that if you miss too many, you won't get your certification if the goal is to get your certification for citizenship. So you have to be ready to commit.
Yes.
Right.
There's a commitment.
Right. And and the thing about it is, so you guys got your certifications A1, A2, right?
Yes. A1 for sure. A2, we need some work on.
We need some work on it. Yeah.
So did you guys have to take a test?
Yes.
Did you pass the test?
Yes. A1.
I don't know. Listen, put it this way: we would definitely take the classes A1 and A2 again.
Again, yeah.
It is not something. I'm sorry, y'all. It's not something you can go through one sitting and come out. Like that. It's just not.
Yeah.
No, not unless you are practicing all the time consistently.
Exactly.
And that's why we take private lessons through Preply. That information is in the description below, because we can do it where we want to do it, when we want to do it. And even though we're going to take the government class, having a personal tutor means that you can ask additional questions. And then to me, I use it as accountability. That means at least, during this time, I'm going to have to do my homework from her as well, and then practice, right? So yeah. All right. Krishan has said that when moving to a new country, the first thing you must do is change your mindset. Get out of your Americanness.
So true.
Yes.
Agreed.
It's a lot, and I don't think that we realize how affected we are by the American culture. I started watching these these interesting TikTok videos about, how did you know, some girl asked, how did you know when America really effed you up? And, and this one girl was talking about when she was going to school in Britain, and one of her classmates had a medical incident, and they were like, let's call the ambulance. And she's like, wait, no, she might not be able to afford that. Does she have insurance and all of this stuff? And they were looking at her, the Brits were looking at her like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
And she's like, that's when I realized, the Lisbon Pride Village Festival is June 22nd. Okay. But the Pride Parade this year is July 6th. Thank you, Yakota.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, y'all. I don't know if you have any more questions, but if not, we can definitely do a short one today. class I mentioned is called, okay, there's a few more here. So I will go ahead and mark these. So what is it that you love best about living here?
The peace of mind.
Yes.
For me, it's the peace of mind, the relaxation, the slower pace.
I think the answer
Yeah,
is
the food, the community, um, to just wake up and say, what do we want to do today?
Yeah.
And the answer is whatever we want.
yes.
Because we can.
Yeah, that right there, because we can. To be able to get up and walk in our neighborhood and just go sit down outside and have an espresso or a cappuccino. And that's it, if that's what you want, and not have to feel rushed that they're trying to fill that table to get more customers.
Yeah.
And you can stay as long as you want. There's so
And
many.
ain't nobody calling the cops because you're still sitting there,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
I mean, just being able to enjoy public spaces,
Yes.
the park,
The
you
park.
know.
Yes.
Oh, let's talk about the parks here. Amazing. Amazing. I mean, there's one park next by us, and it's a park/gym. And of course, if you live in Portugal, there is workout facility
Workout equipment.
equipment.
Just in the park.
Yeah, in the park.
Yes. Yep.
And I mean, I go to my gym and I'm videoing because there's the river, there's beautiful scenic views all over. I mean, never.
Yeah,
back
that
in
park
the
is
city.
beautiful.
Yes.
So some of the parks in Denver had workout equipment, but I see it a lot more often here.
Yes. Yeah.
And what I love about the parks here is the fact that most of them have kiosks for snacks and
Yeah.
drinks and stuff. Whether you want a cappuccino, espresso, or beer or wine or a soft drink,
Yes.
right? And then some of them have everything from hamburgers and French fries to just little snicky snacky hors d'oeuvres, savory hors d'oeuvres and stuff like that. These pastry things that they make here that's filled with meat. So
Wonderful pastries alone. Yeah.
yeah, so sweet and savory pastries.
Yes.
So and they're usually right next to a playground.
Oh yeah, they always
Yes.
have a playground. It's family oriented.
Yes.
I mean, it's nothing, and it's so awesome to see the grandparents with the grandbabies, the mothers and fathers with the children. The whole family's out. They're sitting on the lawn while the kids are playing over in the playground. That's a natural thing, and it's so awesome to see.
Yes.
Yeah, it really is. There's this one place that we stop at from time to time that's over by Serenity. Serenity is a medical concierge service. So if you're coming, you'll definitely want to call them. It just makes life easier. But there's a park near them with a kiosk and a playground. And the one thing, so we were there the last time we were there, it was after hours. I mean, it was like, happy hour time. And so there were a lot of people there who had gotten off work and were sitting there leisurely having a beer or whatever. But there was not the frenetic happy hour atmosphere like, oh, take the edge off. I'll take the edge off.
Yeah.
I'll order 2 or 3 at this right now with the happy hour. I see more relaxation.
Yes.
This, we're just gonna sit here and just and everybody's not like on their phones like this at the table, which we see in America. Everybody's sitting at the table together, but they're like this.
Yeah.
No, phones are down. People are looking at each other and having conversations like human beings.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
It is a whole different energy.
Yes.
June, what's the biggest differences you've found working with Portuguese company versus a company in the US? Ooh, really good question. Besides the time off.
Okay. I found there are some big major differences. I'm not going to go into. There are some differences. I will say that there are some things here in Portugal that may transpire, or the way they do some things that probably wouldn't be accepted in the States. I think they're a little bit more, a lot more maybe relaxed, should I say? Probably
Hmm.
that's a safe way to put it.
That's the best way to
I
put
think
it.
that's a safe way to put it. They're a little bit more relaxed. My work ethic and the way I work, they kind of told me to slow down a little bit. We're going to leave it that way.
So, I mean, well, what I hear is that they don't expect you to be an automaton. They don't expect you to be putting in 70 hours or to do 70 hours worth of work in 30 hours,
Hmm.
right? That's what I hear. And they assume that you're human.
Yes.
Hmm.
Yes. And I've had several times where, if I wasn't feeling good or something, my supervisor would be like, hey, look, okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Your health is more important than anything else. They weren't like, okay, just take an aspirin and keep going because we need you to,
Do XYZ.
yeah.
Or even when I was sick.
Yeah, when she was sick, and I was like, listen, my wife is throwing up over here. She just got, it's like, okay, sign off. We'll see you. Go take care of her.
That would never happen
That wouldn't happen.
in the States.
But I love that it happens here.
Yeah.
Yeah, the states that say call 911, but come back on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get
So,
back on this Zoom call after you call 911.
hmm
I'm sure there is a company or two that would have done the same in the States. Don't get up in our chat talking about, because we know.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely. But
We know that the majority would not.
yes,
Because we old enough and have worked at enough places, right? To know. Please elaborate on the job search process in Portland. Huh?
in Portugal.
Do they mean
Portugal.
Portugal?
I think.
Probably so.
Yeah. I read Portland, but I'm sure she meant Portugal.
It's very difficult. That's just the bottom line. It's very, very difficult. If you're not coming here already knowing the Portuguese language, if you're even, I've seen online so many people looking for jobs here who have IT experience, who have degrees, who have the whole, and they're still having a hard time. But not just that, the salary. So if the salary is not, if you don't have what you need to come in, the salary is not going to do it for you. I don't know if you heard what Halisi said when she said, the average salary, 1,500 a month. She meant a month. That wasn't a slip up.
Per
That was
month.
not a slip up. That was per month, and you get paid every 30 days. You don't get paid weekly or bi-weekly. The majority of pays, it's monthly. The beginning of the month is when you get paid. So if 1,500 a month is not going to work for you, don't come here looking for a job in Portugal.
Well, and first of all, and if you do the research, there are numerous videos, all kind of document that will tell you
Mhm.
not to come to Portugal looking for a job.
Yeah.
And as much information is out there, I'm usually surprised when people come here saying, "Well, it's hard. I've been here and I can't find a job." Well, if you're putting the time in, you will know that that is not going to be a thing for you. First of
Right.
all, and
Right.
any jobs, if you're coming here and you don't have a residence card, that's just your
Yeah.
first 2 years. They're going to hire Portuguese people before they hire an American, unless they need specifically an American speaker.
Right.
So when you make that decision, and this is just for me, when you make that decision to relocate anywhere, but especially to Portugal, know how you are going to handle your finances.
Yes. And if you need help with that,
Yes.
information is in the description below. Because one of the reasons why it's affordable here is because it's affordable to more affordable to Americans, most Americans, because we come from higher salaries.
Yeah.
You want to bring your higher salary to a place with a lower cost of living. That's what you want to do. And so, like our apartment, y'all, is $1,325, 25 euro per month. If the average salary is 1,500 euro, a couple would have to rent this apartment, and it would still be taking almost 50% of their income
Right.
if they made the average, right? So a lot of younger people may buy because they can get a 60-year loan, something crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even that is getting harder with, or has gotten harder with the amount of investment purchasing that is happening here.
Mhm.
So it's been a strain on the Portuguese folks. You don't, you know, I as you know, um, June's situation is different. We don't know anyone else who works for a Portuguese company. We know people who work for the foreign office, or the European office of their American company,
Mhm.
Yes.
or they work for themselves. And so, yeah, I just want to reiterate, if you're looking at a place where the salaries are lower, that's not a place where you want to come trying to find a job. You don't, get your remote job from America where they say you can live anywhere on the planet
Yes.
And do that job.
and do that job.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Pinky says the class she mentioned is Portugal X, Introduction to Portuguese. Okay. We'll have to check that out. We'll have to check that out. Online I prefer, because sometimes I just want to be in my pajamas.
That part.
Right.
So Ginevra says, I need to apply for a visa. How far in advance do I need to apply, and what is the anticipated cost? So for a residency visa, it can be as little as, 800 euro for somebody to help you, or as much as 6,000 for somebody to help you. It just depends on what you want to do. But this process is not inexpensive. You need to have a chunk of change, because you're going to need a 1-year lease. And anybody who's going to give you which means you have to have a 1-year lease before you even apply. So
Right.
you're probably paying for an apartment that you're not living in, plus paying for housing wherever you are, unless your house is paid off, right? And so, so there's that piece. Again, I will put Sandra Gomes Pinto's information in the description below if you want to, book a consultation with her. She is an attorney, and her office does immigration as well as other legal matters, and so she will hook you up. But as far as the fees go, if you wanted to try to DIY this, the fees are nominal. I think we had to, for 300, was it 300 euro that we had to come up with when we got our green cards?
Yes.
Something like that for the two of us, not 300 each, but
Yeah.
together. And then in the States, I want to say it was about $75 a piece or something like that a couple of years ago. And it was a little bit more because we also paid for the FedEx, because we weren't going to leave our passports there.
Right.
So yeah, it's not an inexpensive process. I want to experience Lisbon for a couple of weeks to a month. Good. That's what you should do. Is there an
Walk would be
Airbnb
preferred,
or
yeah.
VBRO to recommend? And what would you be the best time to visit? So we did a video on Airbnb's do's and don'ts and the areas that we recommend you stay in. There's not a specific Airbnb that we can recommend, because it probably won't be available anyway. Read the reviews on Airbnb or VRBO or VBRO, whatever it is, and go by that. Not just 1 or 2 reviews, but I always look for a lot of reviews, and reviews that are more recent, not from 2 years ago. Okay, because you want, those pictures were taken as soon as they got that place staged, right? That doesn't mean the stuff still looks that way. So you want later day reviews. But yeah, we did it's called Airbnb's do's and don'ts. And it's under the live section and under All Things Portugal section playlist. So if you're going to watch the All Things Portugal playlist, you will get all of the answers that you need. It's just going to take you a minute, but yeah. And also in that Airbnb video, in the description is a link to a map that I created by putting a couple of maps together, overlaying them so you can see where the metro is. We circled the area where, which is our favorite area, which puts you in a Portuguese neighborhood, but close enough to the tourist area to experience that as well. How do you like to enjoy your downtime now that you're in Portugal? You've talked about this a little bit, but is there anything you want to add?
Every day is downtime for me, which I had to learn.
Yeah.
I'm living in the States, and it just is. It's, you feel as if you're not doing something
All the time.
all the time, that you're wasting your time. It's not productive. And it's taken months, but
Oh yeah.
if I want downtime now, I don't feel guilty. It's hard. It's hard because I'm watching my wife, and I spend most of her working time, I'm by her side or in the same room just to be there with her. But at first I felt like, man, I probably should do something. And I'm like, you know what? I did do something for many years, which is why I'm able to retire. But if I was in the States, and I have friends who are at retirement age, but they don't want to, and I'm fine with that if that's not what you want. But do you have that extra time? Or are you
Right.
complaining because you don't have the time? And
We will get
I
up.
love it.
We go walking a lot, in Seychelles, a nice little riverside promenade that we can walk down the historic district, and we'll go walking by the river, watch the sunset. We'll stop and, have a cappuccino, or stop and have a glass of sangria, or, how do we enjoy our downtime?
Yeah.
We'll do that. Or sometimes we'll just sit at home and binge watch Netflix, but we do it. Why?
Because
We can.
Because you couldn't before. I mean,
Right.
No.
so when you were in the States and you had Miss Penny's Kitchen up and running, I just want you, how many different products were you personally making to do these markets every week? How many different products?
10.
6 different barbecue sauces, 4 or 5 different cakes, 4 or 5 different cobblers, 6 cobblers, hot sauce, 3 to 4 different cheesecakes, the banana pudding.
Oh, just that alone.
Which, I mean, the amount of products that she made weekly, that she personally made weekly to sell it just didn't.
I personally made all of those weekly.
So on that, cases
Yeah.
upon cases upon cases
of
products.
of 100 different products every week. So and that's the thing, because we were talking about this earlier. It's like by the time, and this is what happens in America. So you said 8 hours. I'd say 14 hours. There's just no way you could do all of that in 40 hours. And so then after the market's over, you're like, and you're like a vegetable for the next 2 days trying to recuperate so you can do it all over again. Yes. So, taking a leisurely stroll because you could, that wasn't a thing because you're too tired. Like, when do we get to enjoy our lives when we're putting in so many hours just to, one, because we've been conditioned to think that's what we're supposed to do.
Right.
And sometimes it's just to make ends meet.
Well, and for me, it wasn't even that part about just making ends meet. I don't even think that I realized that I didn't have that downtime. That's the thing, because I didn't Sunday was my day off most of the time. Monday, I'm preparing for the rest of the week. But I didn't realize that I didn't have that downtime.
Because you were busy. She was
Yes.
going so much. Yeah.
And it wasn't until she kept saying, "I wish you would slow down." And I'm thinking, what are you talking about? I've taken a couple of things off the menu. What
And
are you
then she
talking
added
about?
And then she added some other things.
Yeah.
So-
but that's how we're conditioned.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
I was doing 70 hours a week, and this is just what we do
Mhm.
until I couldn't.
Mhm.
And you don't want, like Rick says, do not let desperation be your motivation.
Yes.
Until I said to Rick, I said, this is killing me. I can't do this anymore. He's like, well, we got to do it. No, we ain't got to do nothing. If we have to sell this house, then that's just what we have to do. We sell it. Because I'm not doing this anymore. It's time to start living, not just working.
Yes. That's
So, right? So Jess, they answered this already. One of the sons and daughter-in-laws came to visit, right?
Mhm.
Son and his girlfriend.
Oh, I'm gonna leave that alone.
No,
because
that's how they.
That's how they.
Yeah.
Okay. And any chance any of your other kids are going to come visit, or any other family members? Are they talking about it? What they saying?
Oh yeah. They're definitely talking about it. They're all working it out, so they'll get here.
Our kids need to one needs to renew their passport, and the others need to get passports. So I'm not going to hold my breath. So hey, Anita, no, they didn't open a restaurant, and I refuse to allow them to open a restaurant because it's too much damn work.
Yeah.
But she used to make and jar and bottle food, homemade food, from hot sauces to sweets and things in between, and barbecue sauce, and from scratch, no ketchup in it, vegan. So yeah, and that is a lot of work.
It is.
It's a lot of work. Oh, here's a good question, and then I think this will be our last one. What was your, I would like to understand your impression of your first winter. Yeah, especially being from Texas.
Well, geez, the first winter was like spring, late spring, or it wasn't winter.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
when
we both
the most
lived
we
in the
could put on,
Northeast before as well.
when the most I had to put on was a sweatshirt.
Right.
Yeah.
I think that was a beautiful winter.
I had just bought a jacket, a short coat, like the year before, and I was looking forward to wearing it. And I wore it that first winter, and I about died. But it was such a nice coat, and I was like, I'm going to wear this at least once. And
she burned up in it because it wasn't that cold.
Yeah.
So what's
Only
considered
at night,
at
maybe.
night,
Yeah.
at night, and by that
But
time
even then,
we're
that's
inside.
a sweatshirt.
Yeah,
A sweatshirt and a scarf, and I'm good.
Yeah, you run a little hot. It depends on how much we're going to be outside at night.
Yeah.
Sometimes we'll do walkabouts at night,
Mhm.
especially during Christmas time to catch the lights and all of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then coming from Denver, Wanda, shoot, this ain't nothing but a thing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did get a little tired of the rain.
Yeah, you get a little sick of that.
Because last year it seemed like we got bigger breaks than we did this year.
We did.
Bigger breaks from the rain than we did this year. I mean, it was raining just a couple of days ago, and it's like the sun's out and it's raining, and I just put my laundry out. Thank you.
But I ain't got to
You
shovel
guys
no
got a little
snow.
bit more rain
Than we did
over on this side in Lisbon than we got in Seychelles.
Oh, interesting.
When it was raining over here in Lisbon, and we were like looking outside, like, well, it's not raining here.
Yeah.
So,
and when it does, we get it for maybe 5-10 minutes tops.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You know that sun is out, and
Yeah.
we're good. So
Yeah. A couple in Portugal just did a video of their experiment living on the average Portuguese minimum wage of 820 a month. It's doable but hard. Like our rent is more than their minimum wage.
Yeah, ours is too.
Right? Like so there's just no way we could do that. Now
You could, but I
I'm not
don't.
quite sure where you'd be living.
Yeah, and that's just, and it's based on what you want. There are places, yeah, you can do that. I just
Now we could live off of $820 €820 a month, not including rent.
oh yeah, easy.
That's easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, we see you, Jan. Thank you about the asking about the work. Was there any other ones that I started? Wait, no. Okay, I think we've done it. June and Penny are living a boa vida. Yes.
we are. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes.
See,
Have you met other LGBT folks to socialize with? So yeah, Mr.
huge
Panther.
community.
Yes, we have.
Huge community.
What's been your experience as women of color? So we did answer that at the beginning, but you see their smiles. You see their smiles. Are you guys able to have a garden even though you may live in an apartment? Ooh.
You can.
Yeah, depending on where you are, because we have some friends, Tanja, and
Yeah.
they have a little garden.
They have a little garden, and I mean, we have like the balcony. We could put the
pot. You can have a potted garden.
Yeah, potted garden.
Yeah.
But yeah,
if that's the garden you're talking about.
And you know, and then some folks have outdoor space with their apartment.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I know Shar said that she specifically picked her apartment because it had outdoor space.
Yeah.
So that's lovely. Do all of the Portuguese receive a monthly allowance whether they work or not, like welfare?
I don't know.
I don't know, Jess. That's the first time I've heard that question.
Yeah.
And I'll have to ask. Yeah, we've got some people that we can ask, but we can't do it right now. So any final thoughts that you would like to leave folks with?
Live your best life. I said it in the first interview a year ago. Live your best life. There's so much more in this world than just what's over in the States. The universe is large. Life is short. Live, love, laugh. Live your life freely. Love everybody and laugh your way through it, because what else is there? Enjoy it. Enjoy it.
Absolutely. You have anything to add, Penny?
Do you while you're doing it at the utmost.
Yeah.
At the utmost, yeah.
Yeah. And I would say, I would add to all of that, do whatever you can to start eliminating the American baggage before you make that move. Do as much as you can, and then always stay mindful of it, because it's a bear, and and we're still eliminating layers. I can see it. We're still eliminating layers, and once you start eliminating those layers, then you feel lighter, and which just makes the experience even more enjoyable.
Yes.
And with that, we are going to remind you. So if you want to watch the origin story, you can watch that next. We will put that in the description below. If you have more questions about how to move abroad or how to get your money straight, you can book a call with us. That information is in the description below, as well as Beyond the Bling, our financial course for late bloomers. And so great seeing your face. You too, Melon T. We miss you. We miss you. Yeah, we've got a great community here because they live here. June and Penny has spent time with them, and wait, how are you all getting together without us? Wait, what's going on? What's going on? I'm gonna start acting like Rashida. No meetups without us. So with that, we love you, and we will see you on Thursday. where we are going to talk about the best travel cards, the point system, and that whole 9 yards. On Thursday, we go live every other Thursday, where we take a question that you have asked us, and we discuss it live on Thursday. So with that, love you,
Thanks
and
for having us.
Thank you, Rick and
you are so
Emily.
welcome.
We love you guys.
You are so welcome. We love you back. Bye, y'all.